Welcome to the world of science fiction stories, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe my channel. Enjoy the listening. One starship to dominate them all. The power of human ingenuity. The Galactic Concord had existed for nearly 3,000 years before humanity stumbled onto the interstellar scene. 17 advanced civilizations, each with centuries or millennia of spacefaring experience, had carved up the known galaxy into spheres of influence. Some, like the crystalline Verd, had mastered quantum manipulation while Earth's first mammals were still scurrying beneath dinosaur feet. Others, like the hive-minded Solari, had colonized hundreds of worlds while humans were still fashioning tools from stone. Humanity's late arrival to this cosmic playground was met with a mixture of amusement and dismissal. The bipedal mammals from Sol III had accomplished much in their brief existence, but they were children playing at the table of elders. When Earth joined the Concord in 2189, they were granted observer status and a handful of colony worlds, mere crumbs from the galactic feast. That changed in 2241, when humanity announced Project Prometheus. Captain Maya Chen stood on the observation deck of Luna Station, gazing at the massive structure taking shape in Earth orbit. Half finished, it already dwarfed any vessel humanity had constructed before. Its sleek, elongated form lacked the typical bristling weapon ports and armor plating of military vessels, yet its sheer scale had sent ripples of concern throughout the Concord. "Captain Chen," a voice called from behind her. "The delegation from the Verd has arrived. They're demanding another inspection." Maya turned to face her executive officer, Commander James Okonkwo. His expression was a mixture of exasperation and amusement. "Third inspection this month," she replied. "The Solari were here yesterday and the Tragellan ambassador the day before. You'd think we were building a doomsday device." "Aren't we?" James asked, his voice dropping to a whisper despite the secure location. Maya smiled. "Depends on your definition of doom." The Verd delegation, led by High Overseer Clith, moved through the station with the fluid grace characteristic of their crystalline biology. Their faceted bodies refracted the stations, lighting into dazzling patterns across the walls. Though they attempted to maintain an air of aloof superiority, Maya could sense their unease. "We understand completion of your vessel is imminent," Clith said, the translation matrix converting the harmonic vibrations of their crystal form into human speech. "The UES Prometheus will be ready for its maiden voyage in 2 weeks, Maya confirmed. "As I've explained during your previous visits, you're welcome to observe the launch." Clith's crystal segments shifted in what Maya had learned was an expression of skepticism. The Concord remains concerned about the purpose of such a massive warship. Earth has no territorial disputes requiring military intervention. "I never said it was a warship," Maya replied. "A vessel of that size, constructed in secrecy." "Hardly secret if you're standing here discussing it," James interjected with a smile. Clith's crystals flushed a deep blue annoyance. "The Concord has monitored your communications. We know your military refers to it as humanity's secret weapon." Maya inclined her head. "And so it is, but perhaps not the kind of weapon you imagine." As the delegation departed, unsatisfied but unable to demand more information, James turned to Maya. "They're getting nervous. The auxiliary have moved a battle group to the edge of Sol's system. The Tragellan are threatening economic sanctions." "Let them," Maya said. "In 2 weeks they'll understand." The crew of the Prometheus numbered 500, an eclectic mix of Earth's finest minds drawn from every field except traditional military strategy. Maya had personally selected each one based not on combat experience, but on their capacity for empathy, creativity, and lateral thinking, traits that humans possessed in abundance compared to most conquered species. Dr. Alyssa Ward, the ship's chief science officer, joined Maya in the cavernous central chamber that occupied nearly a quarter of the vessel's internal volume. Unlike the bridge or engine room of a traditional ship, this space defied easy categorization. "Final calibrations are complete," Alyssa said, her fingers dancing across a holographic interface. The neural network is processing at 99.97% efficiency. Quantum entanglement chambers are stable. Maya nodded, running her hand along one of the curved walls. The surface responded to her touch, rippling with patterns of light. And the rest of the ship, life support, propulsion, shields. All systems nominal, though I still think the shields are overkill. They're necessary, Maya replied. Not everyone will understand what we're doing here, not at first. Alyssa's expression grew serious. The Conquered has existed for thousands of years, Captain. They've settled into comfortable patterns. What we're about to do will disrupt everything they know. That's the idea, Maya said with a smile. Over the following days, final preparations were made. The crew ran simulations, calibrated systems, and prepared for the most ambitious mission in human history. Meanwhile, the diplomatic situation deteriorated. 6 conquered species had now positioned military vessels near Earth, citing security concerns. Trade with human colonies had slowed to a trickle as sanctions took effect. The night before launch, Director Elijah Hamilton of the United Earth Space Agency contacted Maya via secure channel. "The President is under immense pressure to cancel the launch," he said, his aged face lined with concern. "The auxiliary ambassador threatened to revoke our Conquered membership." "We expected resistance," Maya replied, "but once they see what Prometheus can do—" "That's just it," Hamilton interrupted. "They're afraid of what it can do. The Verd are convinced we've discovered some new weapon technology. The Tragellan believe we're planning to disrupt trade routes." Maya leaned forward. "And what do you believe, Director?" Hamilton's expression softened. "I believe in humanity's capacity to surprise even an old cynic like me." The launch proceeded as scheduled. As the massive vessel detached from Earth's orbital shipyard, representatives from all 17 conquered species watched with trepidation. The Prometheus moved with unexpected grace for its size, its engines emitting a distinctive blue glow that human engineers had nicknamed Heartfire. Maya stood on the bridge, watching as Earth receded behind them. "Set course for the Argolis cluster," she ordered. Commander Okonkwo raised an eyebrow. "The Argolis cluster, that's the heart of the Solari-Tragellan conflict zone." "Precisely," Maya said. "If we're going to prove what the Prometheus can do, we might as well start with the worst conflict in the galaxy." The Argolis cluster had been a battlefield for over 70 years. The resource-rich region was claimed by both the auxiliary and the Tragellan, and countless lives had been lost in the struggle for control. A dozen conquered peace missions had failed to resolve the dispute. As the Prometheus approached the edge of the conflict zone, long-range sensors detected multiple battle groups converging on their position. "We're being hailed," Communications Officer Priya Sharma reported. "Both Solari and Tragellan commanders are demanding we identify our purpose." "Open a channel to both fleets," Maya ordered. She straightened her uniform and faced the view screen. "This is Captain Maya Chen of the UES Prometheus. We come on behalf of Earth and humanity to offer our assistance in resolving the Argolis dispute." The Solari commander, a towering insectoid whose compound eyes glittered with suspicion, clicked mandibles in what the translation matrix identified as derision. "Your vessel has been identified as a weapon," the auxiliary stated. "Your presence in this conflict zone is unwelcome and provocative." The Tragellan commander, a reptilian humanoid with iridescent scales, nodded in rare agreement with his enemy. "The human vessel will withdraw immediately or face consequences." Maya smiled. "I'm afraid there's been a misunderstanding. The Prometheus is indeed humanity's newest creation, but its purpose is not what you believe. With your permission, I invite representatives from both your fleets to come aboard and see for themselves." There was a long pause as the alien commanders conferred with their respective governments. Finally, both agreed to send small delegations, each convinced they would uncover Earth's military secrets and gain an advantage over their rival. "Prepare the convergence chamber," Maya ordered as the transmission ended. "It's time to show the galaxy what humanity's secret weapon really is." The alien delegations arrived separately, each escorted by security teams composed of their own species and human officers. The auxiliary representatives skittered nervously, their compound eyes constantly moving, analyzing every detail of the ship's interior. The Trugelan moved with cold precision, scales shifting color subtly as they processed information. Neither found what they expected. This vessel contains no significant armaments, the Trigelan military attaché reported after thorough scanning. Defensive capabilities only. Where are your weapons? Demanded the Solari diplomat. A ship of this size must have a purpose. It does, Maya confirmed, leading them toward the massive central chamber. Just not the purpose you imagine. The doors to the convergence chamber slid open, revealing a space unlike anything the aliens had ever seen. The vast circular room contained no obvious technology, no control panels or visible equipment. The walls, floor, and ceiling seemed to be made of a material that shifted and flowed like liquid while remaining solid underfoot. At the center of the chamber was a simple raised platform. "What is this?" the Solari diplomat demanded. "This," Maya said with pride, "is humanity's secret weapon." At her gesture, Dr. Ward activated the chamber. The walls began to glow, patterns of light dancing across the surfaces. The air itself seemed to come alive with barely perceptible vibrations. "For thousands of years," Maya explained as the chamber powered up, "the species of the conquered have sought to resolve conflicts through traditional means, military might, economic pressure, political maneuvering. And for thousands of years, these approaches have led to the same cycles of war and temporary peace." The platform at the center of the room began to glow, and above it appeared a three-dimensional representation of the Argolis cluster. "Humans may be newcomers to the galactic stage," Maya continued, "but we bring with us something unique, a different perspective. The Prometheus isn't a warship, it's something far more powerful." The chamber hummed with energy as Dr. Ward entered the final activation sequence. The alien delegates watched in confusion and growing concern as the walls pulsed with increasing intensity. "What you are about to experience," Maya said, "is humanity's true secret weapon. We call it the convergence." The chamber erupted in a blaze of light, and the alien delegates felt their minds expanding beyond the confines of their bodies, beyond the limitations of their species' understanding, into something vast and transformative. Humanity's secret weapon had been deployed. The resolution. The convergence lasted exactly 17 minutes by standard Earth time. To those experiencing it, it felt simultaneously like an instant and an eternity. When the light faded and the alien delegates found themselves once again confined to their physical forms, they stood in stunned silence. The Solari diplomat's compound eyes had darkened to a deep amber, a sign of profound emotional impact that Maya had never observed in the species before. The Trigelan representative's scales had shifted to a muted blue that the cultural database identified as the coloration of deep spiritual contemplation. What have you done to us?" the Solari diplomat finally asked, mandibles trembling. "We've done nothing to you," Dr. Ward explained gently. "The convergence doesn't alter minds or implant thoughts. It simply allows for true understanding." Commander Okonkwo stepped forward. "For centuries, humans fought among ourselves, nations, ideologies, religions. We found endless reasons for conflict. What changed wasn't our capacity for violence, but our capacity for empathy. The convergence technology," Maya continued, "is based on principles discovered during our early experiments with consciousness transfer. We learned that consciousness isn't confined to neural pathways. It exists in a quantum state that can be temporarily shared." The Trigelan military attaché blinked slowly, processing. I felt the hunger of Solari hatchlings, the desperation of drone workers in the mineral processing facilities. "And I," the auxiliary diplomat said in wonder, "understood the sacred connection between Trigelan and their ancestral hunting grounds in the Argolis moons." This was exactly what Maya had hoped for. The convergence didn't force agreement or erase differences. It simply allowed each participant to truly experience the perspective of others, creating a foundation for genuine understanding. The disputed territories in the Argolis cluster, Maya suggested carefully. Might they be utilized in ways that honor both Tigelin's spiritual needs and Solari resource requirements? The alien delegates looked at each other, not with the hostility of enemies, but with the dawning recognition of shared challenge. Perhaps, the Tigelin said slowly, certain seasons could be reserved for our spiritual pilgrimages while others. Our mining activities could be scheduled around these sacred times, the exilary diplomat finished, compound eyes brightening. And perhaps we could develop less invasive extraction methods for the most sacred sites. Maya exchanged a satisfied glance with her officers. This was only the beginning, but already the possibilities of resolution were emerging where none had existed before. The delegates requested permission to bring more representatives aboard, including their fleet commanders. Over the next 3 days, the Prometheus hosted multiple convergence sessions. Military officers who had spent decades trying to kill each other found themselves working together on territorial compromises. Scientists from both species began discussing collaborative research into more efficient, less environmentally destructive mining techniques. Word spread quickly through the Concord. The massive human vessel, feared as a super weapon, was instead deploying something far more revolutionary, a technology that could end conflicts not through destruction, but through understanding. We're receiving requests from 7 other species, Priya reported one morning as Maya entered the bridge. The Verd de Crow are particularly insistent. They want us to mediate their trade dispute with the Caladrian Alliance. The same Verd who were convinced we were building a doomsday device, Maya asked with a smile. The very same, James confirmed. Apparently they're now our biggest supporters in the Concord Council. As the Prometheus prepared to depart the Argolis cluster, leaving behind the framework for the first lasting peace agreement in 70 years, Maya received a transmission from Director Hamilton. "Congratulations, Captain," he said, his weathered face relaxed into a genuine smile. "The President has been flooded with diplomatic communications from across the Concord. You've made quite an impression." "The entire crew deserves the credit," Maya replied, "and the thousands of scientists and engineers who developed the convergence technology." "Nevertheless," Hamilton continued, "you should know that the Concord Council has scheduled an emergency session. Several members are proposing that human convergence technology be made available throughout Concord space." Maya leaned back in her chair, and Earth's position. "We're willing to share," Hamilton said, "but with conditions. Convergence facilities must be used only for conflict resolution, never for interrogation or coercion, and Earth maintains oversight of all installations." "They'll balk at those terms initially," Maya observed. "Perhaps," Hamilton acknowledged, "but they're already talking about revising humanity's status in the Concord. There's even discussion of a permanent seat on the High Council, something no species has achieved in less than a century of membership." After the transmission ended, Maya made her way to the observation deck. Stars streamed past as the Prometheus traveled at FTL speeds toward their next destination. She found James there, gazing out at the cosmos. "Do you think we've changed anything permanently?" he asked as she joined him. "Or will they return to old patterns once the novelty wears off?" Maya considered this. The convergence doesn't create artificial harmony. It simply breaks down the barriers to understanding that make conflict seem inevitable. What species do with that understanding is still their choice, but it gives them a choice they didn't have before. "Human ingenuity," James noted. "Exactly. And that's always been humanity's greatest strength, not our technology or our military prowess, but our ability to imagine alternatives, to see possibilities where others see only the patterns of the past." 5 years after the launch of the Prometheus, humanity's position in the galaxy had transformed. 3 additional convergence vessels had been constructed, each serving a different quadrant of conquered space. Earth now held not only a seat on the High Council, but had become the de facto diplomatic hub of the galaxy. The convergence technology had evolved as well. What began as a single chamber on a massive ship had been refined into facilities that could be constructed on neutral worlds, allowing for ongoing diplomatic engagement without the need for Earth's direct involvement. Not every conflict had been resolved. Some species resisted the vulnerability required by the convergence process. Others agreed to participate but struggled to translate understanding into actionable policy. Yet the galaxy was changing, one mind at a time. On the 10th anniversary of the Prometheus launch, Captain Maya Chen, now Admiral Chen, Earth's representative to the conquered High Council, stood once again on the observation deck of Luna Station. The view had changed dramatically. Ships from a dozen species now orbited Earth, not as invaders or wary observers, but as diplomatic envoys and cultural exchanges. Director Hamilton, now well into his 80s, joined her at the viewport. "Did you ever imagine it would lead to this?" he asked, gesturing at the bustling activity around their home world. Maya smiled. "I hoped. That's another human trait the conquered species find simultaneously baffling and fascinating, our capacity for hope in the face of overwhelming evidence to the contrary. The Verd ambassador told me yesterday that they've begun teaching human philosophy in their educational crystals," Hamilton said. "Apparently our primitive emotional reasoning contains insights their purely logical approach had missed for millennia." Maya laughed. "We have much to learn from them as well. That's the beauty of it. We're all incomplete, all limited by our biology and history and perspective. Together, though." She didn't need to finish the thought. Below them, Earth rotated serenely, no longer an insignificant backwater at the edge of civilized space, but the heart of a new approach to galactic cooperation. Humanity had arrived on the interstellar stage not with superior firepower or technological marvels, but with something far more powerful, a different way of seeing. And in a galaxy locked in ancient patterns, that was the most disruptive weapon of all.